And now for something completely different from Monty Python. It is something completely different. I've never done this before, although something similar, but not on this channel. It's Rainers Bantams doing a review from the League 2 weekend of Game Week 3. Now, if you like it, please do, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new on the road to 700 subscribers, but if you do like it, do let me know, because it will become a regular thing. It's the statement win of the weekend. It's Barrow 4, Port Vale 0. Now, it's a statement win because no one would have thought that Barrow would go to their home ground and beat Port Vale 4-0. I didn't predict Barrow to do well this season, sort of bottom half, mid-table sort of club. But this is a statement from Stephen Clemens saying, Frig Pete Riled, I'm Stephen Clemens, I'm going to do it my way, but nothing's going to change around here. We're going to pull off these results. And what a result it is. They've only conceded 1 goal so far this season and have scored the 5 goals, obviously beating Crewe on the first game of the season, losing to Carlisle last week. It was 0-0 at half time. Port Vale were doing okay. Paul Farman made some good saves, but Barrow were the better team in the first half, causing problems down Port Vale's left-hand side, and that continued in the second half. A lot of the goals coming down that side as well. So Connor Hall won in this game. Young lad called John, I can't remember his first name, but he's come from Everton. He had a poor game. And I didn't really like him when he came on against Tranmere last week for Port Vale either, so he's definitely inexperienced. So they definitely missed that with Hart going in left-sided centre-back. So that sort of experiment didn't work. Garner scored a great turn against his man and fired it into a bottom corner. Accra, what a goal he scored. I think he's going to have a really good season this season for Barrow. Liked what I saw from him last season. Rocketed into the top left-hand corner. But it was poor defending from Deborah and Hennigan that backed off from him. Spence then got the third. He ran into a box unmarked and a lovely finish into the corner again. And then Telford came off the bench to score the 4th goal. They played some really good stuff at times. Barrow mixed the play up, went short, went long, played into midfield. And like I say, that right-hand side of Barrows looks very tasty, although the left-hand side of Port Vale looked very weak, and not the type of performance you'd expect from Port Vale. They've had a good start defensively this season, but they've had a battering against Barrow. How did they come back from this? Well, you might have to stay tuned for the preview show on Wednesday. Another segment then, Player of the Week for me, it goes to no other than Mr. Dan Crowley. I mean, what a game he had. It was one of the best individual performances I've watched of a player. Now, if you put him in the Premier League up against Man City for Ipswich, for example, he's not going to have that same performance. But in terms of watching a player dictate a match, control a match, take it by the skin of the neck, if that's the right phrase, he just had the game at his grasp. He was unbelievable. He's the League 2 Messi. No, Ian, I said that before. He's not the League 2 Messi. He's the League 2 Iniesta. There's a bit of a difference. He's so effortless, and he contributed massively in the thrashing against Grimsby at Meadow Lane. Scored 2. One looked like it was handball. Referee had a good vision of it, and I feel like that was poor refereeing from Mr. Ollie Yates. It was poor refereeing from Mr. Ollie Yates. But look, yeah, maybe he scored an handball, maybe he scored a deflection, but aside from that, he was unbelievable. And in terms of Grimsby in that game, they got the press so wrong. You know, he were allowed so much time and space, but so were Notts County all over the pitch. And that they are the real deal this season. And this is a great win that they can use as a platform to kick on. Bantam Zone. Now, obviously I'm going to be talking about Bradford City. There will be a lot of yous watching, so thank you for the continued support, fellow Bantams. But obviously our game, I've done a match reaction on it. If you want to watch that, if you already haven't, feel free to. But I've already spoke about it. Very professional win, big positive win as well, to just beat a team like Bromley against 10 men. It's not something we normally do. We can take great confidence from that. Gives us a good platform and a fantastic start to a season. Our best start to a season since the 2016-2017 season. Play your cards right, Brucey bonus for you. This is a segment basically on the referee and the worst refereeing performance this week. It's more of a big decision that went wrong in the Chesterfield-Salford game. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen it in the comments down below. Chesterfield-Salford fans and any fans of any league, let me know how you thought your team did and let me know your thoughts just on the video in general as well. All the support is massively appreciated. But Chesterfield-Salford, the referee had a howler. The officials board wasn't working, so no one knew how much added time whoever added on. There were 8 minutes added on at the end of a game, and no one knew how long that were going to go on for. So that's a big mistake, but maybe not so much on the referee. But a red card for Tilt. He gets booked for an incident whilst Berry, the left winger for Chesterfield, scored. I'm not sure what the incident was, but alright, fair enough. He got booked for that. And then Will Grigg, with all his experience, barges into Tilt, and it appears that Tilt's lashed out at him, or he's done something untoward to Will Grigg. In fact, it's a foul on Tilt because he's barged into him. You could say he's blocked him off, but it's never a second yellow card. Maybe it's a yellow card on a bad day, but for me, that was poor refereeing. Chesterfield in the game, they played very much like the 2022-23 season from Mark Hughes at Bradford City. Very slow, quite wasteful on the ball in the final third. But when they got the move flowing, when they got the ball moving, and they were moving at a good tempo and intensity towards the final third areas with Dobra and Berry on the left flank, and on the right flank you've got Morecambe. Those three were linking up really well and moving it well. They were so dangerous, and that's what they did for the goal. Berry forcing Edwards back, and then he used the pace on the ball to just guide it. He sort of just passed it into the bottom right hand corner from such a deep position. Dominant display this week goes to MK Dons. They passed Carlisle to death. They looked miles off it, Carlisle. Didn't get any sort of pressing right. MK Dons dictated the midfield, and the man had a field day down the right hand side, putting 2 crosses for MK Dons that found the back of the net. 2 assists for him. He was a right handful. Is Simpson the right man to take Carlisle forward? There's big question marks over him this season, and I think in a couple of weeks he will be gone. He looks tactically inept, and they've had a poor start for high expectations. But Carlisle fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. MK Dons were unbelievable and back to how I expect them to be this season. This week's big blunder, it could have been a load of different things that went on this week, but the biggest blunder this week has to be the Chuckle Brothers-like defending down at Colchester. Harrogate, long ball in behind the defence, it bounces. You shouldn't let the ball bounce as a defender. He heads it, sort of flicks it onto his other defender in I don't know the two were, to be fair, and then he heads it beyond the goalkeeper, and following, I think it was the Harrogate striker, followed in and tapped it home. An absolute comical mistake, and Colchester were much the better team throughout the game. James Belshaw made save after save to keep Harrogate in it. They got the 3 points. Colchester will be massively frustrated that they blew so many big chances in the game, dominated the possession, dominated everything, but when it came to switching on defensively, they blew their chance. Cause for concern, this could mean anything and it could go on throughout the season, but I'm already concerned for this team in the pre-season, and they're not really doing anything to convince me of that. Otherwise, Accrington Stanley got battered on the scoreline 3-1 by Newport, but when you actually watch the game, they played the better football, they had the better chances, but they didn't take the chances. And defensively, again, like the Colchester goal, an absolute shambles at the back. An own goal in their penalty, but were conceded naive foul, sloppy defending. And then the third goal, it's a flicked-on header for Weldig, I think it is. And it might have been Bakerwich, and I think it was Weldig. Absolutely comical defending, and if you want a bit of a laugh, go and watch Accrington Stanley's defenders for all 3 goals. And I think they only had 2 shots on target, Newport County, and maybe 7 shots aside from that. Accrington maybe around 20-25 shots. Shambolic. You're gonna go down if you don't put your chances away and you defend like clowns. Doncaster 1, Morecambe 0 was another game from this weekend, and another good win for Doncaster so far this season. Their goal came from catching out Morecambe, playing out from the back, not something you'd expect Derek Adams' side to do. They did it really poorly, like how you'd expect Derek Adams' side to pass out from the back, to be fair. Clifton snuck in and got the goal. A very stubborn defence, Morecambe, they didn't let that up throughout the game, sat in very deep, soaked up a load of pressure, never threatened Doncaster, and Doncaster really could have and should have scored more with the chances that they created. Cheltenham 0, Wimbledon 1. Pigott nipped in to get his first goal back at Wimbledon. Just nipped in the front post, a very smart finish from him. It was the only goal in the game. Cheltenham were poor besides that, didn't really create too much, and Wimbledon, they did create a few chances aside from that. Probably did edge it in the overall play in the game. But it's Wimbledon, you know, if they're going to win, it's a 1-0. They're not going to outscore teams. Sam Stubbs made his debut as well for Cheltenham. Didn't really make too many mistakes. From the bits I did see, did rather okay. And when he gets his sharpness up, I have no doubt he'll be a good signing for Cheltenham Town. Tranmere 1, Walsall 0. Hard-working, gritty, and 7 out of 10 is what I described Tranmere on most weeks, and that is exactly what they were against Walsall. A very tough nut to crack, and that's what Walsall will be coming away with. But I'll say this all season about Walsall, if they had an Andy Cook, if they had a target man, if they had a goal scorer up front, they might have got away with a point or even a win in that game, because they did create chances. Jamil Mack were moaning all game. He won a penalty and missed the penalty. I think it's a bit of a 50-50 whether it was a penalty in the first place. You know, to be fair, if he did win the header, he'd have had to have been wearing 7-foot stilts, because he'd never have reached that ball. But it was a foul and he missed it. Again, Gordon as well, missing a one-on-one. Big chances missed. But apart from that, Davis, I forgot his first name, Davis, the centre-back for Tranmere, absolutely colossal, won everything in the air, and Tranmere well worth the 3 points. Omari Patrick as well scoring the winner goal. Bantams fans, you'll remember him, a very good, powerful strike into a corner net, and I think he will be a very, very good signing for Tranmere this season. Into the board draws then, a 0-0 here at Fleetwood Town. It was a poor performance really from Gillingham. They didn't create enough. They've got injuries though, away from home. I'm sure they'll take that point. Fleetwood, they're desperate for a striker. Is Jake Young going to be the solution for them? Let me know in the comments down below. Big rumours linking him to Fleetwood this week. In Crewe Swindon, neither team did anywhere near enough to win the game. It was a relegation type game, and I wouldn't have any doubts that those two will be right down there this season. That's how the game played out. Both got battered previously last weekend, and both teams probably happy to just end that battering with a clean sheet and move on from it, which I'll talk about on Wednesday in the preview show. The league table is on the screen now, the top end and the bottom end. Let me know how your team did in the comments down below. Let me know if you're optimistic from this weekend or if you're deflated from this weekend. Let me know your thoughts all in the comments down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new, on the road to 700 subscribers. Have a good one.